I want to thank everybody for joining. It is 1 minute after 6 on the 18th of February. This is a meeting of the Finance Committee of Halifax. In attendance from the Finance Committee are Michael Bennett, Frank Johnston, Bill Smith, Mike Rignetta, and myself. This meeting is being recorded by Area 58. Committee members in attendance have been named, and roll call vote will be made for all items that need to be approved on this call. So that said, we'll start with the acceptance of the meeting minutes from the last meeting. They were sent out, I believe, over the weekend. Has everybody had a chance to read through them? Anybody have any adds, changes, or deletions that they would like to be done?
Nope, look good.
Nope.
Okay, hearing no objections to the minutes as written, we have a motion for the minutes to be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Michael? Thank you. Roll call vote. Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes, February 3rd, 2025 meeting minutes.
Good. Mr. Rignetta?
Yes.
Thank you, and I'm a yes as well, so that motion passes 6-0. Thank you, gentlemen. That closes out that agenda item. On to the next agenda item, which would be the FY26 liaison updates. I'm going to presume at this stage that we have all completed meeting with our departments. Cody has all the information that is needed to create the budget for the town that we will begin reviewing next week. That said, over the weekend, I sent out the presentation that was given to the Silver Lake Regional School Committee that was reviewed on Thursday the 13th. I went to that meeting. I think John Seelig was there, and I was also had a chance to talk to Carl from Kingston because he was also there. So they did not approve a budget on that evening. They are waiting again, as I think Cody and I are both aware of, that they're waiting to certify their E&D funds again and try to use those dollars to close the large gap that they currently have at this point in time. So no budget was approved by the school committee at Silver Lake. So we're still kind of waiting on that number at this point. Cody, anything to add to that? Or do you have any other information?
No, I think you did hit the nail on the head, Jim. One thing to note is the school committee asked the administration to come up with a 2% overall budget increase assessed to the towns. And at 2% of Silver Lake's budget, Halifax is looking at a 5.9% increase due to enrollment increase. So even though they were only increasing 2%, we're looking at a 5.9%. I'm waiting to get numbers from the administration on how many students that is, because it just seems like a lot. Looking at enrollment numbers, I didn't anticipate it being that high. So I'm hoping to get some more information, because we obviously, a 2% budget increase equating to a 5.9% increase for us is large.
Yeah, well, there are two big hitters, I think, if we all read the PowerPoint, where salaries at $1.3 million increased this year, last year, or this to the next year from this year, and then special education out of district transportation went up by $1 million. So it's just, the transportation thing is, I don't know, just mind-boggling to me. And I'm sure the other towns are asking the same questions of our legislators to make sure that we're getting fully, reimbursed for whatever it is, whatever dollars there are for the special education transportation, because I think that's something that seems to be lacking here as of late, at least in my opinion. So anyway, anybody have any other comments? Cody, any comments on the liaison stuff for next year? Are we all set?
No, I think we're good. We're going to have in several, let's see, the police chief, library, and highway will be in next week. And then fire department will be in the week after. And then I'll go over the rest of the budget stuff with you guys.
Sure.
2 budgets we're going to go over this year.
Yep.
One would be with a potential override for the school and potentially a couple other small things. And then the other would be non-override budget working within our tax levy. And you'll see just that's what we're going to have to present. And then obviously the selectmen will have a joint meeting with you guys and the selectmen. As we get closer through the budget process, present those two budgets to them. And then there may be some small adjustments from there, depending on how much of an override they want to go for. So for those of you that, or I think, was everyone there? The finance committee, everyone was there at the last meeting with the board of selectmen?
Yes.
Yeah, except for Cheryl. She was in.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you all know how that went. So now it's just preparing the two budgets, which we're working on.
Right. Thank you, Cody. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Jim, I just want to circle back to the meeting minutes. It was a 5-0, not 6-0 count.
Oh, you're right. My apologies. Yeah. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay. So I think that's where we stand currently with the FY26 budget. We're getting ready to go through them. Next week's we'll cover this at next meeting planning, but next week's meeting, or the meeting on the 3rd, is in person in town. So next week will be the virtual meeting with the other with department heads presenting their stuff. So we'll close out that specific agenda item and committee liaison updates. So two things. I think we're meeting this Thursday to finalize the bylaw review committee stuff. That's at 4:30 with Cody at Town Hall. And then for the government study committee, Mike and I were at we were at the meeting last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess, and talked to the government study committee about kind of the finance committee and the things that we do and how we function. And they had some questions that we answered regarding, how we're appointed, how we function, who we work with. All in all, it was a pretty good meeting, and I think we answered all their questions at least satisfactorily at that point. Okay. So if no one has anything else to add to the committee liaison updates, we can close that item out. All right, hearing none, we will close out that agenda item and move on to correspondence and as may arise. So I haven't gotten any emails, and I don't think Cody has sent me anything that he has gotten himself. So I think we're pretty clean on that item. As may arise, as I said, I sent out the Silver Lake stuff. We're waiting for the numbers from them. I'm actually, Cody and I are aligned that they have such a large increase in enrollments. I just don't understand where that number's coming from. So hopefully we'll see.
Is that based on the kindergarten enrollment, Cody, or how do they come up with that number?
Yeah, so it's as of October 1st, those figures are the ones that they utilize for enrollment. So they would look at, 6th graders planning to go into 7th grade, the graduating class, and then they should be taking into account pre-K because that's
Pre-K.
yeah, pre-K is regionalized now.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so we're pre-K and then 7 through 12 is regional. So those are the figures that should be taken. I haven't seen anything, so I don't know. I just know that it's a 2% overall budget increase is resulting in a 5.9 for Halifax. Given that, there's going to be a sizable increase in the enrollment. I don't know what that number is, but given just your 3.9% of that is related to enrollment and not actual cost increase based on this budget. They could move forward with presenting a higher percentage increase in particular where Kingston is looking at only a based on this budget, 2.8 or something around there. I don't have it in front of me. And then Plimpton's looking at less than 1%.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so one of the things that we have to be mindful of is that Kingston and Plimpton very well could afford more, right? We cannot, but they have, if they can, we have to make it work. And where their numbers are lower, because I'm assuming their enrollment has declined, Silver Lake may come back. I tend to think, I hope that they won't, because they know kind of the situation Halifax is in and all the communities are in. But it is something we have to be mindful of that could occur, given the smaller increases in Kingston and Plimpton and the large increase in Halifax.
Yes. Yes, and you're spot on, Cody. It's 5.1% for Halifax, 2.8 for Kingston, and 0.1 for Plimpton.
One thing I want to note in that presentation that is a little bit misleading is where they talk about total increase. It's not really a great number to look at, and the reason I say that is because they include our debt, which is decreasing in fiscal 26, but our debt is excluded. So with excluded debt, whatever we have to pay on that debt, we tax separately, basically. So that doesn't free up money for us in the tax levy or in our revenues, because whatever excluded debt there is exactly what we bring in. When there was a debt exclusion for Silver Lake years ago, and the way it works is whatever that debt is year to year is what we can tax additionally, but that doesn't free up money for us. So it looks like only a 5.1% increase, because I think that takes into account the debt decrease, which is 40,000, give or take. But it's not really. It really is a 5.8 or 5.9% increase, I believe, because that's actually what it's going to cost us in our operating budget, in our given revenues. The debt is kind of separate. Whatever we get charged, we directly get from the taxpayers because it's excluded.
Right. So it's not. So it looks like they're adding they're manipulating the exempt capital number.
Yeah. Right. To make it look like it's only not make it look like, but if you add the two together, it is but it is a 5.1% increase.
Yeah.
But the reality is we need to come up with the full 5.9 within our operating revenues, because now if that debt or capital were not excluded and just was part of the operating budget, then yes, I would agree. But it's two different pots of money that you can't interchange.
Yeah. Now, obviously, additional conversations need to be had with the school to understand how their math here at this point. Okay. Fun times. All right. Anyone else for As May Arise or any correspondence?
Just that free cash came in late last week. So the Department of Revenue notified us Friday evening that they have certified free cash. Our general fund certification was 1.54 million. Our water enterprise fund was just over $1 million. And I think the best news of all is our solid waste enterprise fund was just a little over 300,000, which the enterprise fund had actually been operating in a deficit for the past several years. So we're finally where we should be with that enterprise fund.
Excellent.
Nice.
So the recycle center is 300K.
Right.
3075.
307.
Yep, $307,500.
That's a good turn.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great, and we need it. We need a recycling truck, which is almost right around there. So, hopefully within next year, we'll be able to purchase one, and then we're not having to go out and pay interest on a loan and things like that. So, which is good. We need to be covering our operating costs. So we're heading in the right direction, which is a great turnaround in the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, fair point. Very fair point.
The water department was $1 million.
Yeah, $1,013,587. So that's also good, because we have that water treatment plant project that we've bonded for. So I anticipate we'll try to pull out another 500,000 of that for this coming fiscal year. And then rather than going out to long-term borrowing, we'll roll over the ban again and look to pay this off in the next couple of years rather than locking ourselves into like a 10-year bond. So that's good because I mean, again, that'll save us a lot of money paying interest over 3 or 4 years versus 10.
Yeah.
Right, no, that's good.
No, good work. Sounds great.
Yeah, good numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, kudos to Lindsay and the accounting team. They got this done and got it submitted. It was a lot of work.
Thank you,
Undoubtedly.
Lindsay.
Thank you,
Good
Lindsay.
job.
Much appreciated.
Well done, Lindsay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. I think the last thing I had is, Lindsay, would it be possible for you to send out the most recent budget status report for ending January?
Yep.
That'd be great.
Still going over a couple things with Linda, but it should definitely, I'd say probably tomorrow, honestly.
Right. That'd be perfect. Thank you much.
Yep.
All right. If there's nothing else, we will close that agenda item and move on to public participation. So with that, let's open the floor for anyone from the public who has any questions for the committee or anyone who is on this call. Okay, going once. Going twice. All right, going 3 times. That being there no participation from the public, we will close out that agenda item and move on to our last agenda item, which will be the next meeting planning. So we have already published the agendas for the 24th and for March 3rd. They are up on the calendar for your review. Again, the next week's meeting will be virtual. Will be at 6 o'clock. We will have 3 department heads on to review their potential budgets for fiscal year 26. And then the March 3rd meeting is we will have the fire chief in, and that will be an in-person meeting at the town hall. Okie doke.
Sounds good.
Anybody have any questions while we have everybody on the phone?
Jim, in light of last year's town meeting and some of our conversations, I thought it may be beneficial if for the next meeting we have a topic of budget forums or budget presentations and we can talk. But my high level thought was I'd like to maybe hold 2 or 3 budget forums in April. So after the budget's been finalized, and try to invite the town to come out. We can record 1 or 2 of them. And
Yes.
maybe do one at town hall, do one at like the COA or something, and just try to explain the budget to people before town meeting. So we try to get as much information out as possible, but we can talk more in depth at the next meeting and dates possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree with that. I think with the state of finances everywhere, it's important that our residents understand what the town needs versus where their dollars are going. They certainly deserve that answer and those responses, and I'm happy to give them as much information as we possibly can. So we don't have to have, don't go through what we went through last year. Not that it was a bad thing, but I think it could have been prevented if we were a little more proactive with getting the information out there. No, it's a great idea, Cody, so thank you very much for that. All right. Anybody have anything else? Okay, I think it'll be a quick meeting for this evening, so if I could get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Johnston,
Yes, to adjourn, please.
and Mr. Rignetta.
Yes.
I am a yes as well. Motion carries. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Well,
Good night.
Thank you.
Night.
have a good night.